It was day 4 of New York City Comic Con. I went with the family. We did some things that weren't really related to comics, but give you a little more of an experience of the overall show. We'll take a little bit of a look at the show floor. And then I'm going to give you the haul of all the books I picked up over the weekend. Up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're going to get straight into New York Comic Con for 2025. This was the 4th day. I didn't go on Saturday, but I went back on Sunday. And over the years, Sunday's kind of been the family day. And one of my older child had a friend who was going as well, so we took them down. And we had a couple of things scheduled. And so it was, I didn't dig through a single comic book box. I'm sorry, a little uncomfortable after walking around all weekend. But we'll do the haul at the end. So you're going to see plenty of comic books that I did pick up. This might have been spoiled if you watch Pop Comics. I was already on his stream. But so we went, and when we got there, we got in, and we just decided to walk the show floor. We actually went to the DC booth first, and we had some fun over there. We have an enormous Lego Batmobile, and then we have an enormous Lego Batman Maxi figurine. Yeah, they're coming out with a new Lego Batman game.
It didn't feel like it was like, well, this is like the worst day in the ever, but also, you know, why would you make it to the show that a normal boring day in the it's definitely...
It's a 4300 aisle. You got the big rig, all the Post Malone big rig stuff set up there. There's t-shirts, there's other tchotchkes. So it was again, a lot of this anime and manga stuff that I am not well versed in, but they do have their very passionate followings. In my parents' basement, that is a very clever name brand for something like New York Comic Con. So that was kind of my main thing, and I had scoped out some booths we wanted to see. The kids had different ideas of what they wanted to look at, but what we did have is we had scheduled, and it was my bad because last year I could have scheduled 2 of their favorite performers, favorite actors for photo ops, but this year we did schedule one, more for my older child. We had a photo op with Charlie Cox. Now, one of the things that was interesting, so you schedule it online, and there's a different outfit that runs all of that. You pay them, I think it was, and the money's crazy, but YOLO. I think it was $180 for the photo op. So the area, and let's just take a quick look at the video of what it looks like as we're waiting.
You could argue that it's neglect.
So they were announcing all the different folks that were doing photo ops. Now, the big celebrities like this, and I didn't see many of the smaller celebrities. Usually they have like a side of the area there set aside for a lot of the voice actors and stuff, but I guess they were more in the artist's alley. But the big stars, they're behind curtains. You can't even see them from a distance. So they have the whole photo thing set up. And we had the ticket, and it said group 3 for the 1 o'clock. We had actually gone to the community area and sat down and had some lunch, so that because we knew we would be busy for the rest of the afternoon. The first 3 days, the show ends at 7, 10 to 7. And on Sunday, it ends at 5. You know, everybody's got to pack up, clean up. They got to get everybody out of that by, you know, they don't want it lingering late into the night and certainly not into Monday. I don't know what they have coming up next at the Javits Center, but I'm sure that they will, you know, use the facilities. It is an enormous thing. So we went and we had lunch, and then we were waiting online, and once the line started moving, it moved fast, and it was like, so we walked in, and basically Charlie Cox was there. They're like, you leave your bags out here, and then you go into this other little curtained off area where they're taking the photographs. He like gives everybody a high five, ding, everybody smiles, click, and then you're gone. I mean, we were in there for probably maximum of 20 seconds. It was very fast the way that they do. So there's not really a whole lot of interaction. And I guess if you want that, you'd probably be better off doing a signature, a signing. But they were able to print out, they printed out a copy of the photo. You get a digital copy and a hard copy. They printed out a couple extra hard copies, so one for each of my kids and one for the friend. And then we decided there were 2 panels that we were interested in, but we kind of decided to go to one which was a Saturday Night Live panel with Sarah Sherman, who is one of my kids. That's their favorite SNL performer. And they were talking about makeup and prosthetics. So Sarah was there with the head of the makeup department and one of the other makeup artists. And they were talking about a lot of the prosthetics and the things that they, use in the show, especially the quick turnaround time. Like, you know, a lot of it, not all of the show is live, but a lot of it's live. So they have to go, you know, from one scene to another. And a lot of times they're basically doing the prosthetic like on Wednesday for Friday dress rehearsal for Saturday's show, and sometimes they have to make adjustments. So it really was an interesting panel. And at the end, Sarah Sherman, she was very accommodating to the fans. So my kids went up, you know, can we take a selfie? And she's like, yeah. And so they got a selfie with her, which was fun. And I think, you know, as a kid, that means a lot, that interaction with somebody famous. And it does create memories. I mean, if a lot of us, if we look back at, for me, it's more sports related. I remember seeing, you know, at the local Sears when I was a kid, Thurman Munson was signing autographs, and he was my favorite baseball player. And that, I mean, I still have an indelible memory of that. So those things, you know, they stay with you. So then we had a little bit of time to shop. We shopped, and that was about it. It was time to go. Bought each of the kids something, and it was time to move on. So I have somewhere here. I'm back here. It's not too much of a mess in my house. I have the comic books that I got this weekend. They're all kind of all over the place. I have to do some organizing. Okay. So I spent... To be honest, I didn't do an awful lot of digging, just because there weren't the deals there. For basically, I wasn't in the mood for $3 books, right? If you get a $10 book for $3, and that's fine. I just wasn't. I'm getting too old to kind of lug 100 comic books. You know, halfway across Midtown Manhattan to the parking garage. So Zap Comics had $3 comics. There were people digging through. I'm sure there were great deals, but I would rather do that like at a Clifton show where I'm parked across the street, you know, and I leave the show and like a minute later I'm driving off. And so that, or I can come back. It was whatever. So, but I went to the first dealer. Is this the first dealer? I guess I got a Daredevil 150 first appearance of Paladin. There's rumors he's going to be in Vision Quest, I think. Is that the rumor for Paladin? I've been picking up that book when I see it. And then this book, and I was a little surprised I didn't have this. I'm trying to complete the run, and this is a difficult run to complete for one reason. It's 8 Ball by Dan Close. And so one of the reasons that it's difficult to complete the run, at least for me, is that not all of the issues are standard comic book size. The later issues, like the last one, is like bigger than tabloid size. So in terms of storage, like the last several issues, I might have them, but they might be like in a magazine box at my dad's house that I have to go through. But issue number 2, I didn't have. Did I start not collect? I think I started maybe collecting with issue number 3. Dan Close, probably best known to the general public for the comic Ghost World, which was adapted by Terry Zwigoff into a film in 2001, which is really, if you haven't seen it, you should. It's excellent. But I'm trying to complete that. Very offbeat, sensibility on the book. So that was that. So then I went to the next booth and I was looking, and there was one book I found that I was really interested in. And it's been on my list. And I don't have, like, I maybe I should. Maybe next year I will. What do you think? Should I? There are folks that they have like a top 10 books they're searching for the year, and they'll post on Instagram like an X through the books that they found. And it might be a combination of, more modern, independent, harder to find stuff. Well, this book probably, I don't know if it would have been my top 10, but it's close, right? Because there are 2 other issues that are associated with it that I also need. One is very expensive. And then, so the book I picked up is this one. Brave and the Bold, number 30. It's the third appearance of the Justice League of America and the first appearance of Amazo, the android who absorbs all their powers. Pretty nice condition. Does have a slight subcrease, but it really is a crisp looking. And I opened it up. Sometimes when you get the slight subcrease in the front, you get a really sharp one. Not the case. It's pretty mild on both ends of the book. The Justice League trade dress overwhelms the Brave and the Bold trade dress. So Justice League, their first appearance was in Brave and the Bold number 28. They got a 3-issue tryout. This is the 3rd issue, and then they got their next appearance was in their own issue number 1. The other thing that's interesting is they focused on the 5 backup heroes, or the 5, I would say, B-list heroes at the time. They didn't have Superman and Batman on the covers for a while, but here we see Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, J'onn J'onzz, and Aquaman. The interesting thing is, if you look back at DC at this point in time, there wasn't much else to choose from. They did subsequently add Green Arrow as the next member, but in terms of superheroes that were on Earth in present day, that weren't basically duplicates of current heroes. Like, you had Batwoman, you had Supergirl. But this was it. That's why J'onn J'onzz was kind of obscure at the time, but they didn't have anybody else. So anyway, that was a fun pickup. That's really, most of these books are PC pickups. This one, not so much. So I went to Zap Comics. He had half off. So I was digging through, and I had this book previously in a collection, and I know that it is a really cool book. It does have a popped staple, but this is All American Men of War number 98, right? Number 89. The significance of this book is that the pop artist that gained popularity in the 1960s, Roy Lichtenstein, he created these pop art things that essentially were panels from comics. I think they were all DC comics that he interpreted into an art piece to kind of, I don't think it was necessarily to satirize, but bring a different light to the drama contained in this. It was war books and romance books. Now, there is some controversy because Lichtenstein never gave any acknowledgement to either DC Comics nor the artists that created the original art. I believe this was Russ Heath, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Heath did the cover. But I'm going to go to the Grand Comics database right now to just look that up real quick. And so this is all American Men of War. So let's check out issue number 89. Now, truth be told, the DC didn't put credits on the stories. No, it's Jerry Grandinetti. And the painting text was, no, that was one. It was the Irv Novick. Actually, there are two. And okay, Hot Shot, okay. The Irv Novick Wham. Wham is probably the most, one of the most well-known, at least the war books that Lichtenstein did, where, so, you know, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the sophisticated art aficionados of the 1960s who were wowed by Lichtenstein's work didn't realize that it essentially was the images were originated by somebody else. So I'm just trying to find the, and then I'll put up a picture of the Lichtenstein piece of work that there we are. So here is the panel. This is an Irv Novick panel, and the it's entitled Wham, the Lichtenstein piece. So we'll take a look. I'll put up a picture of it and you can compare. What else did I get from Zap? Always pick this up. Adventure Comics 428, the first appearance of Black Orchid. Has a little chip out here, but that's kind of a spec book. I picked these up because I thought for the price they were right. I don't think they're 9.8 contenders. Dark Knight Returns, Batman the Dark Knight Returns number 3. And Dark Knight Returns number 4. I also picked up this from AC Comics, FemForce number 1. This is one of those things. This is going to go in the PC. Where I get influenced by doing these CGC census videos or population count videos. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting kind of little indie book from 1980-something. So I've been picking up a lot of those. Because the other thing, too, is it kind of intrigues me. I'm going through the comic book history, but I don't have the institutional knowledge of some of these independent titles because I didn't read them. So now I have the opportunity to do that. Then I picked up an Infinite Crisis number 5. This is minty. I'm still chasing this book. But Xolo Maridueña is coming back as Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes. Supposedly that going to get an animated series. That should be awesome. Then I picked up this. I don't know if this is an upgrade because this is a harder book to find from DC 1972. It was the only issue, and it's Laurel and Hardy, issue number 1. So that I'll see if that's an upgrade. I grabbed this, I think. Let me look at my notes. I actually could have gotten this signed. Because the actress was there. Yeah, this is a high-grade copy of Secret War number 2. This is the first appearance of Quake, who gained popularity in the portrayed by Daisy Johnson. Is that the actress's name? No, Chloe Bennett is the actress' name. The character's name is Daisy Johnson, right? Am I crazy? It's late at night, and I was walking around Comic-Con for 3 of the last 4 days. But this is her first appearance, and in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series, will they make that canon, bring those characters in? Who knows? Then I picked up this. This is Transmetropolitan number 1. I thought it might be a 9.8, but I looked a little closer when I got home, and it is not. But it's still a great book. The fun thing is that right after I picked this book up, I had it in hand. And I had mentioned Sean with Pop Comics had been, I'd been on his video. and he was like talking to an artist, an inker by Rodney Ramos, who worked on the title a little bit later on. He didn't work on this issue, but he did work on the Transmetropolitan title later on. So we were able to chat for a couple minutes. I had wanted only one thing in terms of exclusives, and it was at the Whatnot booth that I picked up. I did pick up. Was that all I got from Zap? I think I might have gotten more that's here, but got shuffled around. It doesn't matter. So I picked up two. There were these foil DC McFarlanes. This is I'm not sure what this image is from, but it's not new. He drew this back in the 80s, because who would draw Starman? So it's a foil cover Tom McFarlane. The funny thing is, the folks at the booth had no idea how to put a comic in a bag and board. They had like the flap on the front, and the flap didn't cover the whole thing. It was whatever. And then this is Detective Comics. I think it's like $5.75. Well, both McFarlane foil covers. That was cool. Was this? Maybe this was still Zap. I think so. No, maybe not. Maybe somebody else. I picked up this just because, there was one main reason I picked it up. I thought it was pretty nice condition. It is Doom Patrol number 106, and it is September 1966 cover date. So I'm kind of working on that birth month thing, and I can always tell the DC books that are possible from there because they're the checkerboard. I didn't have this issue. This completes the run for me. It's Gotham City Sirens number 15. I think it completes the run. Yeah, pretty sure. For some reason, of all books, like, of that era, because these aren't dollar books, whereas most DC books from 2010 are dollar books, that wasn't on my pull list because I was just not paying attention at the time. Now, this is a fun one because it can be really expensive in a 9.8, and it's really high grade. This is Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions number 1 in a newsstand. So this was the first Marvel crossover, predates Secret Wars. It's the first crossover, the first mini-series. And basically, the Collector got all the heroes together, and they introduced all these international heroes, or give them a little more focus, like Shamrock from Ireland. She's just green costume, goes by Shamrock. This is also I like to find, because a lot of time the newsstands, people kind of overlook it. This is borderline. I think it needs a good press. Maybe has a possibility of being 9.8. I think it might also need some blood treatment. This, I thought, was a very nice copy of Justice League of America, number 51. This is the Zatanna issue. It's a pretty decent copy. I have to see what my PC copy looks like to see if this is an upgrade. But always good to have a Zatanna book in there. So basically, she had appeared first in Hawkman 4. Then she was an issue of Atom, Green Lantern, and Detective Comics teaming up with Elongated Man. And they also kind of, we got to get somebody else in the story, because Elongated Man wasn't in the Justice League at the time. Well, let's get Batman in there. And, because they retconned that one of some other character was Zatanna. But she is in search of her father, Zatara, who premiered in Action Comics number 1. This, I think, is also a 9.8. Is this good enough? This Long Shot number 1, that was really high grade. This Marvel Age number 41 with the Stan Lee photo cover. And then I was also looking for, this was all Very Gary stuff. That's right. Now, Very Gary, if you've been following his channel, he got a really high grade collection in, and he had some ridiculous books. Like, he was getting like Silver Age books, 8.5s and 9.0s, and I'm like, well, let's look at some other books that he didn't get graded that have a reasonable price on them that look like they can be. And I specifically picked out like 2 for the PC. Not for the PC. I'm going to, one probably stay. Probably get them both graded. So a little TLC, and maybe we can, get a nice grade out of this. And it's one of those things where usually it's about a grade of 9.0, where there's a huge jump for Silver Age books, Silver Age keys. So I picked up Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 3, one of the great Steranko covers. This is really nice. Everything's really sharp on this. And I picked up this. This I thought would have more value in like the 9-0 era. It's a 70s book, not a 60s book, but it is New Gods number 2, and it's the first cover appearance and the first full appearance of Darkseid. So I think this is a really undervalued book. And then I also saw this. I thought the price was right. It's actually pretty good. It does need like a little bit of work, but this is going into the PC. This is Detective Comics 311, the first appearance of Catman. And I'm kind of working on my Detective Comics run because I just went through a collection that had a lot of them. There were 122 issues of Detective Comics, all under issue 420. So I was just going through which ones I'm going to keep and which ones are not upgrades or that I don't already have. Then I picked up this from another vendor. I think this was the only book I grabbed from this vendor. It's Brady Bunch number 2. Mid-grader, but just I want to have it. Right? I grew up with the Brady Bunch. So, like anybody of my age can tell you. It was just, you know, iconic for my era. This one isn't. $5 a piece. Classic X-Men, number 3. Anniversary cover, newsstand. Not a 9.8 contender, but I'll save another one. Thor 373, newsstand. Doesn't have a lot of value, but I think it's a 9.8 contender. This one, though, if this comes back at 9.8, X Factor number 10 in a newsstand, the recent sales are like the $250 to $300 range. There aren't a lot of them sold, right? So because it's a newsstand, a little bit harder to get to. Now, I think the rest of the books, this last pile, I think I picked up on Friday from Golden Age Guru. And we had a nice chat Thursday afternoon at the end of the show with somebody from PSA because he was really the only one with PSA slabs. But I'm not buying PSA slabs. I'm buying raw books. There were a couple of graded books I looked at. Two like on my want list, but so expensive. So expensive. It was Detective Comics 20, and I wasn't ready. It was a sticker of $10,000. Detective Comics 20 is the first appearance of the Crimson Avenger. It was a 3.5. It's probably more like a $7,000 book. And then I think it was $13,500 for Detective Comics 23. First cover appearance of the Crimson Avenger. And since Crimson Avenger is a member of the Seven Soldiers of Victory, I collected the entire run of Leading Comics 1 through 14. And now I want the first appearances. That's the second most difficult. The first most difficult one, I saw one of the auction houses had it. Might have been Comic Connect. Had it for More Fun number 73, first Green Arrow and Speedy, and also the first Aquaman. So anyway, Golden Age Guru, I picked up these, and I picked up some books that I thought fit nicely into the PC potentially and were in decent condition. Wonder Woman number 197. This is 1971, but I still think it's really cool. I want it. Star Spangled War Stories number 164. This is from 1972. You know me, I always pick up Shade the Changing Man, number 1. Then I grabbed this. I was surprised I didn't have this. This is a 1972 book. It's Korak, Son of Tarzan, number 46. It's the first DC issue. So Tarzan and Korak had been, and all the Edgar Rice Burroughs material had been published by Dell up until then, and then DC got the rights, and they threw some Joe Kubert covers on there. This is a extra 52 pager. I haven't really read these yet. And there are 100 pages of Tarzan I read a little bit of Tarzan back when I was a kid when these came out. But this was a 1972 book I needed. That was cool. Then I finished a run. Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. This is issue number 52. I've been trying to complete the Charlton Heroes. I have to work on the Peacemaker. That's next. But not right now. Now's not the time to work on a Peacemaker run. Peter Cannon Thunderbolt number 52 by Pete Morisi. I think there was 10 issues that it ran, and the numbers are all weird. It didn't start at 1, whatever. But I'm trying to complete those Charlton Heroes. I think I have maybe all the Captain Adams, all the Blue Beetles. And then I picked up some nicer grade copies, and I paid fair market value for these. You know, these were not bargain basement, but the prices were fair. There were a number of vendors there where the prices were like triple what fair market value would be. And I just, I didn't even dig to see if like I could find, because like, what's the point? So I've been working on this run very low key, but maybe a little bit higher key now. Sea Devils, number 8. And he had a couple issues I passed on because they were not great condition. These covers are amazing, though. Number 11. Number 16. And kind of what like kickstarted me on this run is I had grabbed a high-grade eBay copy in issue number 1, and I pressed and cleaned it and graded it, and it came out an 8.0, which I think it was an 8.0. Might have been. I think it was an 8.0. Which is a really nice grade for that book because it's like from 1961, I think. So I said, let me complete the run. I want to keep it now. Sea Devil number 21 and number 32. So these are all in the fine or better range, which is just perfect for me for what I'm looking for from these. And then there was one other book that I grabbed. And it was the giveaway when I went to the Jim Lee panel. I talked about that on my show, first show. Batman Dark Victory. This is the now adapted for audio. They did this podcast, and this is Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale book. So it doesn't have much value. I think it was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that they gave out in New York. So that does it for New York Comic-Con. I'm currently working on plans to go to Baltimore next weekend. Not 100% certain, but I'm probably going to be there Saturday. Might stay until Sunday, not sure. So anyway, like to thank you all for checking out my video. I do appreciate it. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.